Hi, and welcome to episode 9 of the Aimless Yarn podcast, where two best mates talk about funny and awkward stories from back in the day. Hello.
Yo, you just have to tell
hello,
people.
Luke.
You
Yeah,
have
that's
to
it. Just take a big swig.
I will. You have to let people know that your bandwidth's low this week, John. So you might dip in and out. This time it's your turn.
Yeah, it's my turn. We had technical difficulties with Luke, who sounded like he was
10 miles
under
away.
a sofa or something.
You can't even hear me on last week's episode.
10 miles away.
But you were complaining that you could hear Claire.
You're getting that sent back to Amazon, that mic, aren't you?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm having to use a headset this week. But you said you could hear Claire in the background.
I think you must have got one of those.
You said you could hear Claire in the background last week, but you can't even hear me on the recording, so I don't know what you're on about.
Well, I think you accidentally purchased a long distance microphone, which just
what's the long distance microphone? What the hell's long?
Pick up any sound near you, but like picked up sound in background. It's one that picks up long distance sounds, but not close ones.
Yeah, I've never seen that episode.
God. But yeah.
There were it was a program about Hulk Hogan and his family, and he were on a boat out on this lake somewhere, spying on his daughter, and he's got this long distance microphone, and he's listening to because she's at this house party, and he's there with this bloody long distance microphone, spying on her. God. Yeah, well, one of them, I think. It must have been one of them.
And that's what you must have purchased, Luke.
Yeah, I know, yeah. God, it was bad, wasn't
it? Yeah.
But
it's my turn now.
But your bandwidth's low this week, innit? So it might like you're on a long distance phone call. It'd take about 5 minutes. It'll take you about 5 minutes to answer me.
I know, it's weird, isn't it?
But my microphone's knackered, so I'm using a headset, so I sound like I'm on phone.
Yeah, you do. I don't know why you're drinking wine as well, Luke.
I know, but it just.
Are you trying to like?
There's a problem every week.
Why are you drinking? Why are you drinking red wine, Luke?
It's juice, isn't it? It's Ribena.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's what you tell them all, isn't it?
Anyway, what have you been doing? Tell me.
Anyway.
Same bloody story every week. I've seen what you've put on screen.
Really?
You're telling me the same bloody thing every week. You've done the same thing nearly every week.
I'm not.
What have you done now?
Well,
what have you got this week?
I've bought my car.
Every bloody week you're buying a new car. It's like you've got a...
I know.
Every week you're buying a new car.
But last week, look, it was... I know, but this week was last week was guess what car I was getting. And now I finally got it. Oh my
God, I couldn't believe it.
So I bought myself.
As if you bought a bloody Peugeot.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know, but it's not just any old Peugeot. It's a Peugeot RCZ. It's a future classic.
Okay, yeah, all right then.
And it's beautiful.
Good on you.
It's a 2+2, so I can get Grace in it back.
Yeah.
It's a sports car. It looks fantastic. It's diesel, so it's economical.
Good, I have to say, yeah.
It's beautiful, isn't it, mate? I'm well happy with it. So it ticked all boxes, mate. And what I've been desperate for a sports car since Grayson was born. So it's finally found something that ticks all boxes.
Nice one.
So so I bought that. That got delivered. Was it last Wednesday? Yeah, the day after the podcast. Yeah. And then I've also been getting my hands dirty.
The podcast that only went live. The podcast that only went live yesterday. You mean, even though we recorded it 6 days ago. 7 days.
You did. So there's me waiting for notification that the Aimless Yarn podcast were going to come. I didn't get.
You didn't come because I'd saved it, but I'd not pressed publish. I'd not pressed publish. So it was because I knew it were on YouTube.
He's taking his time.
I knew it were on YouTube. So that's how I'd listen to it, you know. And so but I
Yeah.
forgot to press publish on the actual podcast. Anyway.
Well, I listened to it on Google Podcasts, you see, on way to work, and it hadn't come up and notified me. So I thought, oh, he's taking his time, pushing it a bit.
Like
yeah,
yesterday,
I've been.
any chance of podcast? Oh crap! I haven't pressed publish. Oh man,
Amateur,
I
Luke.
know, yeah. But hey,
Terrible. But yeah, I've been fitting, bought a body kit for Karen's car. It's more like an aero kit that she wanted. So I've been trying to fit that. It's been a pain in the ass to fit. So to change the grill on that car, you got to take the whole front bumper off. So and there's about blooming 18 bolts to get it off. 4 different electrical connections to disconnect. It was a pain. Did that, and the diffuser that I bought for it as well is for an AMG, a proper A45 AMG. And exhaust tips don't marry up, so I've had to bloody cut with my angle grinder and all kinds of stuff. It's been a nightmare, but it's getting there. I should have it done tomorrow. But it's looking quite nice. I might put some Instagram on Aimless Yarn one, seeing what I've been up to. But I sent this week I talked some CCTV.
Yeah.
That I sent back to Amazon. Then, well, I've got I bought some new CCTV, so I've been messing about with that, and managed to fit that instead. And I've turned an old tablet into a DVR. So basically, I see all my cameras on this tablet.
No,
so
nice.
it's pretty
Do
cool.
you think that's what's killed your bandwidth? What killed the internet? Connecting all your CCTV cameras up to your router?
Nah. No, because it's not me. It's something's just, I don't know. It's just something's not right. I tried to raise a fault with BT, say there's not wrong with it, but I know there is. It's one of them. It's just me. It's just it's been doing it for a few days now. It's just like something's just causing me bandwidth just to drop massively, and I don't know what it is. But the CCTV's been fine, so I doubt it's out to do with that.
Right,
it's literally just
that's
what I've been. What have you been up to?
Why do you disconnect your CCTV and see what happens? See if it makes a difference.
That's quite easy, just to unplug them. But so I'm looking at my tablet now, and it's still not connected to any of them. It's just like. But anyway, what have you been up to? Anyway,
I ain't been up to anything in particular, but there's 2 things I want to mention. Watch a film called.
Go
on. The Week of.
Anal Warriors 2.
No, The Week of. All right, it's an Adam Sandler film. It's an Adam Sandler film, and it's about he's like the father of the bride. He's a father of the bride, right? And his daughter's marrying into this other family and stuff like that. And oh my God, I don't know how long it is since I sat and watched the film and literally laughed out loud, and I was literally laughing and crying with laughter. My stomach hurt. There's this one particular gag there's this one gag in the film which is about, I don't know, maybe a third or maybe just after a third away through the film, where all his family's coming to stay in his house and stuff like that. And it's like his daughter's husband to be is black, and so all his family and all his mates, they're all black, and they're all he's got this hotel on cheap, and they're all staying in there, and they're all a bit like disappointed with the hotel and stuff like that. He goes, "Oh, just come and stay at my house." So then there's like about 12 people, guests for this wedding, all in his house. And they all stay over. They're all sleeping in all over the house, you know. And anyway, the next morning he's going out to get something, and he opens door, and there's these 2 black guys outside, and he goes, "Oh, I'm just serving breakfast up, you know, get yourself in here." And it's just 2 random black guys who are walking past. He's just assuming he's just assuming the part of wedding family because wedding party because of the black. He's just like, "Oh, just get yourself in here, lads, you know, breakfast served." And they come in and like, Right. He's like, there you go, right, okay. And he's introducing them to other guys. I said, they take it you know each other and that, and they're looking at each other like, no, just because we're black, don't mean to say we know each other. Oh God, it was just, but the way they did the joke, it was just so funny, man. It was just brilliant.
Yeah, I think
It's
I've
like,
seen it.
when like, they're just not frightened of. That could be that joke. Some people could be quite worried about putting that in a film. Do you know what I mean? It could be offensive or whatever,
Yeah.
but they're not frightened of doing,
Mhm.
And I thought it was great because they just like, it was just so funny.
Addressing elephant in room kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah. And then today, which I shared with you partly before the episode, last week we talked about creating a bonus episode, didn't we? Where
Yes.
we basically, because on one of the episodes that we did, we talked about how we used to record and reverse and stuff like that, and how much fun we had with it. Well, the bonus episode is that episode reversed. So it's not uploaded yet, but I did it today, and I could not stop laughing at it when I was playing it back, and I would just.
You sent me some video clips, didn't you?
Yeah, and anyway, I videoed it and I sent it to you on WhatsApp, didn't I?
Yeah,
and
you did.
It were because the part that I was playing back was the words and sentences that we used to record and reverse. So when it came to them bits, it just got me. You know what I mean? I just couldn't stop myself laughing. It was so funny. So I had a great time this morning editing that.
I bet you did.
It was so funny. But the funny thing was, I'd reversed it and stuff like that, and I set it rendering on computer behind me with speakers, and I were on a training course today.
Oh God!
I was on a leadership training course, and so I've got my headset on. And I'm listening to the guy, and then suddenly in background it starts playing. Yes, you know, yes, right, you know. Just like, oh my God! So I had to turn my mic off and go and pause it, but it started playing partway through training course because once it's finished rendering, it starts playing. Oh man, I don't know if they heard it or what, but just oh my God.
That was, but I must admit, I was pissing myself at those video clips that you sent me. They were excellent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might just listen to that episode myself when you publish it, mate.
Yeah.
Because it is so funny, mate. Stuff. It sounds, I'm thinking to myself, it sounds a cross between Japanese and German.
Yeah, I thought that. It sounded like a foreign language, didn't
it? It did.
Yeah.
It's like so abrupt, don't they? But it's so stern, like a German.
Yeah.
So it's really it's weird.
Because when we were doing it as kids, we were just like words or like short sentences. You know what I mean? Like if you want to play football, you can go home, and then we'd reverse that, and that'd be it. That was kind of longest sentence we'd do, wouldn't it? And then, but that reversing the entire conversation, it flowed like it were actual foreign language. It was just weird. But you get to them words that we used to do, record and reverse, and they just pop out of the conversation.
Yeah.
and you recognise them, do you know what I mean? As the words that you used to do. It was just so funny. And then you got to Glen Techno, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I actually said it backwards, didn't I?
Because when we did the podcast, you did it forwards and then you said it backwards as well. And then because we played it backwards, you did it forwards and backwards again. It was so funny. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was. Oh, dude.
What? You can
I bet
tell.
there's people listening to us now thinking, what the bloody hell they're on about these
I
two?
know, but you could.
But
We've talked about
honestly,
this recording. We've talked about this recording and reversing on about 4 podcasts now. So it's obvious how much
yeah.
fun we had doing it, you know. And that's why I wanted to reverse
Well,
that
it's still
episode.
funny though.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to know what we're on about, just have a play yourself. Just say a
Yeah.
sentence and reverse it, and it's so funny.
I
And
know,
when you
yeah.
start learning how to say stuff backwards, it makes it even funnier. Because when you say a word like if I said I don't know, backwards, and then I said it as if it was backwards, it'd never sound the same. So it'd be instead of fish and chips, it would be fish and chips. It'd be like that, wouldn't it? It's so weird.
But as well, that when you said fish and chips like that on the episode,
yeah,
and I've reversed it. When we got to that, when it played that bit backwards, it was just so funny. Yeah, sniff. Do you know what I mean?
Oh God.
But yeah, definitely. If you're listening to this podcast and you don't know what we're on about, listen to the On the Rocks episode, and then listen to the reversed version of that episode. You'll know what we're on about, because it's just well, it's funny to us anyway. So hopefully you'll find it funny.
Yeah, we find it hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But anyway, look,
that's
this week.
today and this week.
Yeah. So this week, what are we talking about this week, Luke?
Well, I mean, we've talked twice about us working together, haven't we? But that were at
Sierra,
Telewest
UK
and Sierra.
Limited.
But we also worked together another time, didn't we? Well, just only for a short period, which worked together. But we worked to the same place, didn't we? So you trained me as a satellite engineer, didn't you, at New Channels?
That's right. Because after I left Sierra UK Limited, I had a stopgap job working a delivery driver, but I only did that for 3 months. And then I managed to get a job as a satellite engineer for New Channels in Sheffield. And when was this? This was, again, back in the early noughties, wasn't it? And anyway, it was owned by 2 chaps called Phil and Mike, was it?
Mike, yeah. Phil.
Yeah, Phil and Mike.
Phil and Mike.
And Phil were a lovely guy, wasn't he? I love Phil. And Mike was really nice too. We just didn't see much of him, did we? Because he was more of a... I think Mike worked... Because he had a shop as well, didn't they? They had a shop down in Handsworth. And I think Mike did the shop. And I think Phil sort of like he was more in with the engineers side, sorting out the work and where to send engineers, etc., wasn't it? Yeah. So they were like a contractor for Sky, weren't they?
Yeah, I think he were kind of the sales side, wasn't he, Mike?
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
and then Phil were like the operational side, the fitting and all that kind of stuff.
That's right. But a lovely pair of guys, and I think I saw it advertised in paper because my ex, who I was with at the time, I think I was living with her and her mum and dad in Sheffield, and it made perfect sense to get a job in Sheffield at that time. And I saw it in paper. I think I forget what their local paper is now. Is it Sheffield Eagle or something like that? I think it is. And anyway, I applied, and because of obviously working for Sierra UK Limited as a telecoms engineer, then they snapped me up. But yeah, it was a different kind. You got your same perks. So you got a van, you got all your tools.
You got your Nokia phone.
God, yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah, you got a phone as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was all on paper. I think they used to print jobs off in the morning for you. If you did a lot more jobs in this because installs didn't take as long. But yeah, it was basically going out and fitting mini dishes and setting up TVs and what have you. So there were no there were no like underground pulling of cables like it was in cable.
Yeah,
sure, a lot easier and a lot quicker. But when I first joined, they had a contract with a company called Swan, which was doing warranty work on, your set-top boxes. You could buy a warranty.
Yeah.
And we worked for them, so that if anything went fault, we'd go out and swap the Sky boxes out, or if the dish was faulty or misaligned, we'd realign the dish or change the LNB, which is a low noise block converter, which is the thing on the end of the dish. It was a decent job. But I think we lost a contract with Swan, and it would just basically installs all the time. I think that's when you joined, wasn't it, Luke?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
I can remember
it was
interview
quite good.
Just like, he says, "Do you know what an F connector is?"
So I got you a job, didn't I? I put your name forward.
You got me an interview, and then my interview was just like, "Do you know what an F connector is?" Yep. He said, I just explained what an F connector was, and then it was like it wasn't like what can you bring to company or like just what you'd expect from an interview. It was really basic. Like, do you know what an F connector basically is? This bit you screw on the end of the cable that connects it to the satellite dish at one end, and then there's a set-top box at the other end.
Yeah.
Do you know what an F connector is? Yeah. He says, do you know how many pairs you put in, when you put in the extension cable in for the set-top box? And it was just basic, like that type of thing. Just
but you'd done it before anyway.
And that's obviously all I needed to know if I knew what that stuff was, because obviously the fitting of it were just, well, it's very much straightforward, and it's just, I think you just needed to know them bits. But yeah, it was weirdest interview I've ever had.
I think I give you a heads up as well, didn't I? What stuff they might ask you anyway, I think. Yeah, but yeah, it was quite a cool. I actually enjoyed working there. It was good. They had about at the time, about 7 or 8 engineers working for them at the time. Was it?
Yeah,
there weren't that many, was there?
About that, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but there were some right characters there, and everyone got along. It was really good. But I remember in the morning we'd all in the morning. That were it. We'd go down to this company called Solutions, wasn't it? Did we go to the shop first, or did we just go down to Solutions and all work with? That were it. So we went down to Solutions in Sheffield. You've gone really quiet, by the way, Luke. And at Solutions, these. Solutions was a separate company from New Channels, but they provided all the satellite dishes and stuff. It like a stores really. And Phil used to meet.
Didn't they own it? Wasn't it like?
I don't know. I think it was a separate business.
Are you sure? I thought Phil and Phil. I thought that Phil owned that company.
No, it was Neil.
Would it Neil? All right.
Neil, yeah. Nobody knew. Everyone just thought he worked there, but he actually owned it.
I thought he was just the stores manager there.
No, what did he owned it.
What do you used to call him? Do you remember what you called him?
Gollum. He was a really nice guy. He was quite an odd chap, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Rumoured to had taken a lot of disco biscuits back in the day. But, he was a really nice guy. He owned it, and we'd all meet there in the morning, wouldn't we? And we'd have a laugh, and Phil would be there handing out his jobs, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
So
you had to go in like a separate room, didn't you? You'd go in through front and say hello or whatever, and then you'd go in through another door, and then all your gear would be piled up.
That were it.
With your paperwork on top, and then you had to obviously load it up and then ring all your customers and let them know what time you were going to be there, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But I remember going in and looking at how much work I had, and it just pissed me off every morning. Do you know what I mean? Because I live like 26 miles away from there, so I'd always try and work it so that I were kind of my last job but closest to home. But I knew that I'd be getting back late because I live miles away anyway, so I was always late in the morning.
Yeah.
But I'd always get stuff like bloody Sky Plus installs and ones where they need like 3 set-top boxes all around house, and I'd get all them jobs, and it was such a bloody nightmare, and you knew you'd be late home, and
it was all over shop as well, wasn't it? Yeah. It was like all over Yorkshire. Like to Hull and
Yeah, I know, but
Cleethorpes
I did one in Silsden. How the hell did someone in No, you weren't even No, it were past Ilkley. As you go past Ilkley and then you turn left to go towards like Cumbria, it were up that way. And I thought, how did they get a job from New Channels in Sheffield? And it took me like 3 hours to get there.
I know, it didn't make any sense, some of it. But I can only assume that there were jobs that nobody could pick up. So, like, they picked up the rest, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But yeah, we'd get that were it. We'd get all those dishes. All those dishes were in boxes, flat packed, weren't they?
Yeah.
And they'd stack them. And with all your stuff, you'd have your cable that you needed. You'd have your LMBs, your dishes. Everything was piled up for those jobs ready. But the thing was, you could turn up and it'd be no access. You'd end up with all that spare kit just on your van. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So you'd end up with so many dishes. You'd end up building them. And the night before, and stang them in your van.
Yeah, but they take so much room up, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they took more room up, but it didn't matter.
You'd make your dish up, right, as a left-hander. And then you'd turn up to job and it'd be a right-hander. So you'd have to bloody take arm off and turn it round.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Okay. When I say left-hander, it's like you don't know what orientation a house was for your dish to look south. So you might have the arm on the back of the dish turning left or right or whatever. But it always needed to be other way if you'd already made your dish up.
Yeah, but other factor was as well. Look, you used to turn up to people's houses for a full install, and it was already in because the person that used to live there before already had Sky.
Yeah.
So a lot of those jobs, before you got to, I've got to put a bloody dish up, I've got to do this, and they get it's all in.
And all you need to do was swap the LMB at the end of the dish. You're supposed to fit a new dish, weren't you?
Yeah, you were, but nobody ever did.
And you'd only do it if the customer said, "I want a new dish."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you were meant to do that. But if the dish looked new and all you needed to do put a new LMB on, that's all you'd do, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's it.
But that's another thing then. That's when you'd start backing up with kit in your van.
Yeah, that's it.
Because they always put out what you needed, didn't they? So,
but they never take it back.
No,
they never ask for it back.
No. So
yeah, and so God knows how that worked. But it were good for... I mean, it wasn't a bad paid job back then in early 90s, but the problem was you used to work like 6 days a week, didn't you?
Yeah, and so every hour nearly, especially me anyway, living that far away and then trying to commute from Sheffield back to Marsden.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
No.
The travel, I think I clocked up 30,000 miles in a year once.
Yeah,
it were ridiculous, the mileage, but it wasn't a bad job. I think we only got paid about $250 a week. 6 days a week, so what's that, $1,000 a month? That's before tax. So it was crap. But that was what? We're talking 20 years ago, aren't we?
But you didn't get more for a non-standard install. Like, if you had to fit a bracket and a pole and stuff like that, you didn't get paid more for that.
No, you didn't. That was a weird thing. You always got a set rate.
You got a set rate, but then, and if you did a non-standard install, you'd have to charge customer for brackets and pole and all that stuff like that. So they'd get money for that, but you wouldn't get no bloody extra money for putting more hard work in.
No, you
always won't. Every time I used a bracket and a pole, it were always wonky. Do you know what I mean?
Just you, Luke.
Oh God! I'd put the bracket on because there were two brackets, weren't there? And then you'd put the pole up.
Yeah.
And nearly every time I'd put the pole, I'd go up and I'd do it, and then I'd go up with the dish on the pole and tighten it up and get down and come and stand, look up and have a look, and it were always bloody leaning over to one side every time.
That's because you got wonky eyes, Luke.
Oh God! So annoying. Because when you're up there, you can't tell. You can't tell what it looks like from down below, and I'm like,
no, you can't. You can't. But yeah, I mean, obviously, they all knew it went on, but you kind of made up some of your monies with jobs on the side, didn't you?
Yeah,
and everyone knew, you'd always you'd always get asked if you could do this, that, or over for a little bit extra, and you would. You know, because at the end of the day, want a well-paid job, and you know, just a bit of money outside just to top it up, really, want it. So there was that, and they didn't mind you doing that. To be fair, and I think even Phil said, "Look, if you're going to do jobs outside, as long as you pay fuel, I don't mind." And that's what I used to do. So they were fine with it. But yeah,
Fiddles.
Used to call them fiddles in Sheffield, didn't they? Fiddle job.
I call them scotching jobs.
You did, yeah, but it was Bertie. You remember Bertie? You know, Bertie. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Big Bertie, lovely guy. I used to get on. I might look for him on Facebook. I used to love Bertie. See if he's about. But yeah, he's the one that trained me up originally when I first went there. And we got on like an house on fire, and everyone we were like a proper old school guy, really dry sense of humor, and everyone, because he was really tall.
He had a Transit, didn't he?
No,
not a Transit. A Renault.
He had a Renault Traffic.
Yeah. Why did everybody else have a bloody Kangoo, and then he had a Vivara?
Well, because he used to do aerial fits as well, didn't he?
Oh, right, that's right.
So he used to carry big poles and that. So that's why he got bigger van, and we all like little ones.
Oh, he had massive ladders, 40-foot ladders, didn't he?
Yes, that's why he had to have a.
If you had 40-foot ladders, he had to come and meet you. You know.
He did.
Yeah.
But I remember Bertie, he used to like. He didn't mean to, but because he was such a big guy and he was quite straight to the point, you know. Like people used to be intimidated by him, like, you know what I mean. But he was such a lovely guy, you know. He was great, you know. And I'll never forget. I went on this job with him once, and like we always got taught, didn't we, inside out. But for some reason, to drill inside out, we had to drill outside in on this job.
Why?
Because the customer wanted, because we were all going into a loft. Straight from aerial base straight into the loft.
Right.
And he shouted up to me, "Oh, just, you know, outside in, it's fine. It's going into the loft." Says, "You sure?" He says, "Yeah." So I drilled outside in. Come downstairs, and I
God.
pushed the cable through, and he's like,
I think I know what you're gonna say.
He says, "Have you drilled that hole?" I said, "Yeah," and I've pushed cable through. He says, "I didn't see it come through." Anyway, I looked up they had really tall ceilings in this living room. Looked up, and this bloody very top of the room, there's a cable hanging down. Big hole. She's like, "Bloody hell, John."
In the living room.
Yeah. We had a really small loft, you see.
That's dangerous, isn't it? Drill in through from outside.
Well, this is it. But I mean, customer were great, but I said, "Don't worry about it. This is I'm having the house done out anyway." So he was sound about it. So yeah, it's because I drilled at base thing because I didn't realise how tall. So I hadn't been inside house. I was just following instruction from Bertie.
Right. Okay.
I'll never forget that. That was funny at that. But yeah, do you remember vans we used to drive, Luke?
Kangoo van.
Yeah, little Renault Kangoos. They were quite cool little vans. Yeah, it were awesome.
My first Renault Kangoo I had didn't have power steering. Didn't have power
steering. Like Popeye.
Oh my God, you felt like you had a workout. You know what I mean? When you got to your first job. How did it have power steering?
God knows.
Car didn't have.
I think I had T-Reg power steering. And that had power steering.
Oh my God! You know, you're turning three just to get around a tiny little bend.
Oh God, Luke! I think you've just given me a flashback of when I was training you up. Do you remember when we were rushing about at this job in Sheffield, and I put my ladders on, and then we set off to the next job, and then I broke. And next thing I know, the ladders fly off the top of the van, skid across the bonnet, straight into the middle of the road, and then a bus drove over him.
No, I wasn't with you, but you have told me that story.
Oh, God. Yeah. You used to rush about, but yeah.
That's happened to me
never straight again,
twice. At least twice that's happened to me. I went to move a dish off a wall onto some scaffolding, and I'd done that, and I put the ladder back on the van, didn't lash it on, and I'm going down
You had them little screw things, didn't you? You didn't have rope. It was like those screw things. You had a screw with a thing, and it just tightened, didn't it?
Yeah, and you just fastened it down like that. And I was going down this hill, and the ladders weren't lashed on. And I'm going down this hill, and then I'm turned around this bend, and then the ladders went across the top. So I could see them moving. I could see the ladders moving from one side of the van, front of the van to other. And I thought, oh shit, I know what's going to happen here. And then they went, bounced off bonnet, straight across the road, bounced up onto this bloody pavement, narrowly missing this woman and this kid. And just came to rest. And I'm like, oh my God, it just was slow motion. You know what I mean? I thought, I'm never going to forget to do that now.
Jesus. But you used to rush about a bit, didn't you? That's why.
That's it. You had to get from one job to the next, but it would I could just see him moving across, in my vision.
Yeah.
Moving across
you
from
could
one
hear
side
him.
and then it would just they just started sliding forward, and then they went tilted down, bounced off bonnet, then banged, smashed onto the road, and just went sliding across the road onto the pavement.
I think every new channels van had a ladder mark on the front of the bonnet where they slid off.
Or scratches along top of doors on back where you
burnt tree.
Instead of lifting the ladders on, people just bang them on back at van and slide them on, wouldn't they? And they all had massive scratches on back.
That were it. But the first, they didn't have their own vans at first. They used to rent them off burnt tree vans, didn't they? Burnt tree vehicle hire. That were it. But I'll never forget. I had this Kangoo a while, and do you remember where I used to live at the old stable block? At Linthwaite.
You mean across Linthwaite?
No, Linthwaite, Blackmore Foot.
Yeah,
I used to live with my mum.
Yeah, next to Res.
Yeah, that were it. Well, I had quite like a narrow thing to get into drive. Well, I don't know. I was knackered or something. It was late at night, and I turned in, and I just misjudged it and scraped all down the side of this van. I was like, "Oh God!" Anyway, I told Phil, and I says, "Look, I do actually know someone that'll do it cheap for a couple of £100 if you don't want to go through insurance." So I paid him, and then Phil paid me back in cash, so it was all right about it. But yeah, those Kangoos were pretty good. And then they started buying their own, didn't they? The new channel started buying their own vans, but running them on LPG.
I know, yeah. You just have a switch, wouldn't you? Just a switch on the console there. You just, I'm running out of petrol, flick the switch, and then you're on LPG.
That were it. Because I used to, because Phil always said to you, look, try not run it on petrol, just run it on LPG. It's a lot cheaper. And I used to always you could hear when it was running out of gas because you start going like that when you were accelerating. God, it's getting low. But there weren't that many stations, petrol station that sold it. I think it was only Morrison's, wasn't it? They used to fill it up, and it used to bloody stink.
It stinks, it
proper stinks, yeah. Because when you had to undo the nozzle, it used to go. It used to stink like methane or something. Yeah. But yeah, I used to ignore it. I used to just run the gas and then run the petrol all the way down, then fill both tanks up because you get about 500-mile range out of it.
Yeah, I think everybody did.
Yeah, they did. But yeah, I remember them.
I crashed my Kangoo.
I know, you did bloody thing that you always do, which is going too fast down a country lane. Seeing an oncoming car, instead of just braking like normal people, you just tend to just take verges and roll.
There was no room for me to get.
You say that you could just brake and stop.
I'd literally had done, and that were it. I was just too close. But anyway.
Yeah, shit driver. Do you remember? Obviously, some characters working at Newtown. Do you remember Gaz?
Yes. I worked with him a few days.
Yeah.
I can't remember why I was working with him, but oh man, it was just. I've heard some stories about him, and.
Well, thing is, right, me and Gaz got along really, really well. He had his problems, obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, he were rough as arseholes. He were proper down to earth. I used to like Gaz for that. But he did used to like the old Mary Jane, didn't he? A lot.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
his
And
van
in the
stunk of
van,
it. The
you were
van
in the
stunk.
van. You got to
Yeah,
on way to job. You got
yeah.
just horrendous. I've never done all like that. Do you know what I mean? But being around it is it's just awful.
I know. I mean, his clothes smelt of it. His van smelt of it.
Yeah, and then
You
you
know,
smelt of it
and
if you're in his van. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, you
And then
did.
it,
But
like last first thing he'd do before he get out of the van would just spray himself with Lynx, and then get out and that were it.
yeah,
But
yeah. He used to spray himself with Lynx, didn't he?
yeah,
Religiously. He used to
I
have
know,
loads of
yeah.
cans of Lynx, so he wouldn't smell of it. That were it. But thing is, it was such a generous guy. I remember, like, this is when I used to smoke when I was younger. He just keep giving me fags like they were going out of fashion.
Mm,
Because we used to get there early, me and him. We used to get there early in the morning, and we'd have a good old chin wag, and we'd build some dishes together. And after we built a dish, we'd have a fag and that, and wait for Phil to turn up.
mm.
And yeah, he used to just keep giving me fags. I'm like, Gaz, I feel bad. You keep giving me all these fags. Nah, don't worry about it. But yeah, the other thing is obviously side effect to being on old Mary Jane, like, is it makes you paranoid.
Yeah.
And yeah, he used to suffer with his mental health, you know, quite bad. And I think we had a fallout once, me Gaz, in the morning. I don't know what it was about, but we ended up having a scrap. But it were all right. It was just, I can't even remember what it was about. But
I pissed him off once.
did you? Because he was quite, it was.
Yeah,
It was very on edge, wasn't he? So
yeah,
you could do or say something, and he would go off on one.
yeah. I were
Well,
up a ladder. We turned up
yeah.
to a job,
Mm.
and I'm up this ladder, and I'm fitting this dish, and he's down there clipping some cables, and I goes, "Heads up!" He's there, dodgy
Yeah.
that away. And he looks up, and I goes, "Got you," you know what I mean? And he goes, "Don't you ever do that to me again!" Yeah, I proper go at me. But I was only joking, do you know what I mean? I was heads up because he were under the ladder.
Yeah.
Don't you ever do that to me again? I felt really bad about it, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was really funny. But yeah, I felt
Yeah.
bad about it afterwards. But
Yeah.
and I learned about like his paranoia and all that kind of stuff.
Was he still there? Because obviously I left to join OpenReach before you. Because do you go to New Channels after you was a croupier?
Yes, I went from there, from the casino to there.
So I remember you'd had enough at doing croupier because it was late nights. You didn't see anyone, and
Yeah.
you were turning into a vampire slowly, weren't you?
Well, it were unhealthy.
Yeah.
I wasn't eating right. I were like 8 stone.
Wet through.
It was just it were horrible. And I were like, you stand at tables and you're dealing poker or blackjack or whatever you're doing, and you've got you're surrounded by people and they're all smoking, and so you're breathing it in, and it was just awful. It was just horrible. I prefer to work on reception.
Yeah. And then obviously I got your job, but I've been there a while. But then I got that job with OpenReach, didn't I?
Yeah.
Was Gaz still there when you left New Channels?
I don't think so. No.
What, did he leave? Did he?
I think a few people had left. Yeah, and some new people came in, and it wasn't same as like when
It used to be.
Bertie had gone.
What, Bertie left, did he?
I think he had done, yeah, at that time.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah. So.
I think it was just getting a bit long in tooth, wasn't it? I think that's what it was.
Mm.
But do you remember that? We're a bit of a brown nose there, weren't they, called Jason? Do you remember him?
Yes.
He was right up Phil's backside, wasn't he?
But I think he.
And he used to get paid more than everyone else as well.
Yeah. But I think he actually, I don't know what it was that he did, but I remember being in office once, and I heard them talking about him, and I heard Mike say, "I won't piss on him if you're on fire."
Really?
Yeah. So he'd done summer. This was long after you'd gone, when they relocated their offices to Rochdale, not Rochdale, Rotherham.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I heard him say that, and I thought, God, what's he done? That must be bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It must be because he
You're
used to be
like
a golden boy, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Proper
So,
golden boy. But I
yeah.
remember he used to do, because he'd been there longest, obviously. I remember he getting paid more, and they used to say because he could do the motorized disher installs,
Yeah.
which were hard to fit because you had to program it, didn't you?
But he used to do the,
uh,
the high-rise ones as well. What were they called? Internal wiring ones. What were they called? They had like
dual LMB ones.
no, they had 16 out things, and they were for flats. They had 16 outlets on the
communal dishes.
Yeah, that were it. Yeah, he used to do them as well.
Yeah.
I went on a fit with him doing that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I remember. I think I've gone with motorized one because he used to have. Everyone else had those shitty signal. What are they called?
Swires.
Swires. Yeah, that were it to get the dish signals, and he had a spectrum analyzer, didn't he?
Yeah.
So 'cause he needed it, obviously. But yeah, he was the proper golden boy. Like, he was all right. He was a decent guy. He was just a bit quiet, wasn't he? I think he and everyone thought he was a bit of a brown nose with him, wasn't he? But yeah, I remember him, and yeah, I think Phil and Mike wanted me to become like Jason because they'd got me on an aerial course so I could do aerials, which I hated doing because I hated roofs because I didn't feel safe on roofs. And they also trained me up to do, foreign dish installs with dual LMBs.
Yeah.
They actually got me on that as well.
Right.
But like I said, I got that job with Openreach and I just went because I could see what was coming anyway. I could see what were happening. But talking about roofs, do you remember? Look,
Yeah.
remember running up?
I was going to ask you if you'd
get a job done quicker.
I wondered I was going to ask you if you'd ever done that because I remember doing it on the house in Sheffield, and oh God, when I did this, it was the one and only time I'd ever done. Doing it on a bungalow roof's fine because they're quite shallow roofs, aren't they? And they tend to be those tiles that are a bit quite grippy. I were at a job in Sheffield, and it were really quite a tall house. And I thought, right, he wants it on chimney, so that's where I'll put it, obviously. And then I've put my ladders up, got my dish on my back and all my gear, my tool belt and all that, got everything I needed. And I put the ladder up, and so the ladder were lent on the flashing. Rather than
sorry, Luke, your microphone's rubbing on your beard.
Sorry, mate. So the
It's all right.
So the ladder's lent on the flashing, right? Not the flashing. The what's the bit under the gutter? The white bit.
Guttering.
Not the guttering. The bit under the fascia.
Oh, so eaves.
On eaves fascia, and because I didn't want to lean it on gutter because obviously you might move, and I'd not been shown how to use my ladder brace and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So, anyway, I lent it on there and I went up
with the rubber wheels.
Yeah, and I went up and microlight. I'd not been shown how to use that, so I went up the ladder, ran up the roof with the dish on my back and fastened it on. I turned around, I couldn't see my ladder. I didn't know where my ladder was because it was under gutter. And I'm sat on apex of this roof looking around, thinking, how am I going to get down? Because I don't know where my ladder is. There's no one around. I don't have my phone on me, so I can't ring customer. Because I'd left my phone in van or something. And so I literally had to slide down the roof on my ass. Just absolutely, my legs were like jelly, honest to God. And I got to the bottom and I'm just holding on to slates with my dear life, just, like hanging my leg off, just trying to feel around for my ladder, and I thought to myself, for 250 quid a week, I said, I'm never going on a roof again unless I know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean?
No,
Yeah. So I just, it would just,
it's not worth it.
I just couldn't believe what I'd done. You know, how foolish to do that. I mean, I did go on roofs again, but it were like them that were quite shallow, you know, where you could actually lean it on roof and see your ladder and stuff like that. Bungalows are quite good for that. But yeah, I just can't believe I ever did that. I remember a job in
No, I did the same, mate. I did exactly the same, and it's
go on.
And basically exactly the same, mate. But I used my brain a bit more. I put my ladders up so I could see them.
Yeah.
So I had something to aim for. But I went up. I looked. I thought, oh, that's not too high. That's not too gradient. You know what I mean? So I ran up, sat on the apex at the dish on the chimney, and just changed it LNB, lined it up. Then I looked down. It's like, that's steeper than I remember it.
Yeah.
And I tried to just like slide down, but I was just like, nah, this is going too fast. So I ended up sliding down on my feet, on my shoes, and then I gets to the bottom, and I was thinking, if as soon as I hit these ladders, they're gonna just slide off the gutter.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to. That's why I didn't want to lean them on gutter.
Somehow managed to get them. Yeah, and anyway, I managed to get down, but I thought, same, if I'm never doing that without my cat ladders again. But even that, same with the cat ladders, yeah. Your cat ladders were so dangerous at tipping point where you took them up with you, and then that point where you sort of like hanging off the side of your ladder and then trying to push them up, it's dodgy anyway.
Yeah.
So they ended up sending me on a course to out your harness and all that. Look, it just took forever. You know, and ratchets and all that. I thought, nah, it's just not worth it. It's just too dangerous. Even after I did my course, I didn't feel comfortable.
I mean, I just remember
it's just proper dodgy, like, you know.
I remember saying to like ringing them up and said, I can't do this job, and after that event, they're like, why can't you? And I said, well, he wants it on chimney, and I'm not going on roof. You know, and they're like, well, why not? Why aren't you going on roof? So I'd got some hassle off him, you know, for saying about not going on roof, and I just said, I just don't feel safe to go on roof, so I'm not. Someone else who can do it can come, but I'm not doing it. So that happened a couple of times, and after that, you know, if I'd turned a job down for that, then you know they didn't question it. But it's just not worth it. Do it safely. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it safely, just don't bloody do it. You know, it's not worth it just to get someone bloody satellite TV.
Yeah. But you said you fell off a ladder as well, didn't you?
Oh, well, I turned up to this job, right? And it were I looked at it, I thought, oh, this looks all right, you know, it's south facing. And it were just a normal size house, and I looked at it and I thought, right, okay. So I parked the van and I got to the knocked on the door. Say it's number 12 or something, and I knocked on the door and I said, you know, I'm here to fit your satellite, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, oh, well, I've got my job down here. Is that your name? And like, oh no, they live right back. Oh, you were a back to back. Right.
I remember.
So it was, So anyway, I got in van, drove around corner, and it was a back to the back, but we were on a slope, so there were another floor. So it wasn't just a normal house; it was like 3 stories of this house, and it was north facing. So I needed a dish on a pole and a bracket to look over at roof. And that was one of them jobs where I knew that it were bloody lopsided, you know, and I looked up and it were wonky. So I turned up to this job, and the garden were all soil, and there were dog shit everywhere. Do you know what I mean? And there were a few paving slabs dotted about in the garden, and then there were dog shit everywhere. And so I basically put my ladder up, booted it into soil, you know, rather than getting me bloody ladder spurs off and putting them on, just kicked it into soil. So right, that won't move. And I went up, put my bracket on, took my dish up on a pole, came down because I wanted to make sure it was straight, and went up to take cable up and what have you. And I got down, I thought, right, it's not straight, so I'll go back up and adjust it. And I got about 2/3 of the way up, and the ladder started sliding down wall. So I'm like,
no.
Yeah. So it's sliding down wall. It's lost its footing at bottom. It's sliding out. It's sliding down wall. And I thought, well, am I going to hit the ground with the ladder, or am I going to jump off? I didn't know what we're going to do more damage. You know what I mean? So I thought, well, I'm going to jump off. So anyway, the customer saw me falling past the bloody window. You know what I mean? I don't know what that must have looked like to see me going past the window, you know. And I landed in the garden full of dog shit, right? And I landed on one of the paving slabs rather than in the soil, where it would have been soft, on one of with my elbow first on one of the bloody paving slabs, and I'd managed to avoid the dog shit. So that's all I'm bothered about. But they rang an ambulance.
Did you break your elbow?
Yeah, well, they rang an ambulance, right? And the ambulance guy came, and the first question I asked him was, I ain't got any dog shit on me, have I? It's like, is that all you're bothered about? And I goes, yeah. I goes, no, you're all right. And he got me on a stretcher and stuff like that. And there were loads of people around taking pictures and filming me. Do you know what I mean? And I remember paramedics saying, have you got everything? You know, are you getting everything? Is it, you know, kind of dissing him a bit for filming it, you know? And he got me on a stretcher and stuff like that. But yeah, that were painful. I had a pain in my neck. I had the only actual injury that I had was the ball bit, or the curve bit at the end of your elbow. That had chipped, so it had cracked and come detached. And that were literally the only injury that I had. But my whole side of my body were just in agony. And when the pain subsided, the main pain that I had were actually in my wrist. It wasn't in my arm. It were in my wrist, and that ain't even where the injury was. So that were weird. But yeah, they gave me light work after that.
Weird.
And
did they?
They gave
was
me
it after I left, wasn't it?
Yeah, you'd left then. But they gave me light work after that, light duties. I worked in office, and after having a few weeks off, because I said I need to come back to work. I can't be at home all the time, you know. So they got me another van, because my van had gone to someone else to work in, and they got me another van, and but they I remember Phil came to meet me in hospital, you know, really concerned and stuff like that. But I didn't have I'd never had any ladder training. They'd never put me through an actual ladder training course. And I remember saying on my first day, asking, do we get like ladder training? And I remember Phil saying, of course you do. You learn it on job or something. And I never had any official ladder training. So really, I could have taken them to court for that. But I didn't even.
You still could.
I still don't. That at the time, I didn't even cross my mind, because I were kind of loyal to the company. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to do it, because I just felt. I mean,
if you wanted to, you still actually could.
I think you've got like 5 years, haven't you, or something like that. You've only got so long you can do it for that. But I didn't want to do it, because I don't know. I liked Phil, and you know, they kind of looked after me and stuff like that. So I didn't even think about it. But only till a few years later did I think, you know, God, I could have got some bloody money out of that. You know. But yeah, that were dangerous and painful. Yeah. And then after that,
they did it cleaners, mate.
Yeah. But then after that, they did send everybody on ladder training. But it wasn't like an official course. It was some guy who knew how to put a ladder up, went round back of some bloody warehouse and showed us how to put a ladder. And, you know, it wasn't like you didn't get a certificate for it. It wasn't like an official bloody thing. They just show you how to put a ladder up and
Like
fasten
it
it
should
to the
have
wall.
been.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah.
I had an accident there as well, actually, because I remember I was in, I don't know where I was. I remember it being, it might have been Barnsley, I think. I was pushing, some houses you had to push your ladders right to the very top tier to get to the top of the house.
Yeah.
So you had 3 tier ladders, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you'd
Well,
put
that's
it to
what it was
top,
like.
first section, top of that run. Then you did, yeah. Well, I got it to, I mustn't have clipped the first run on properly on the first run. And then I lifted it, the second one, right to the top, and then the top section came down. I went whack on my shoulder, and I went down like a sack of spud. Oh mate, it tore me t-shirt open, and I was in a lot of pain. I thought I cracked my collarbone, but I went to Sheffield Hospital. I think I didn't drive myself. I think ambulance came. And they x-rayed me and I hadn't broke it, but I had to have my arm in a sling. So I'd actually had an accident there. So it was quite a dangerous job, really think about it, because you are working at heights. But this is like 18 years ago.
Yeah.
So health and safety's got better even since then. But you got to remember it's a contractor. Contractors, well, back then didn't have to have as much health and safety as like Sky or BT, because when I joined Openreach, it was BT struck Openreach then. I couldn't believe how much health and safety there were. For everything you did, you had to have a training course.
Yeah.
They are so health and safety, and that's a good thing, a really good thing, because it is dangerous working at heights. I think there was a rumour years ago they were trying to get rid of ladders, weren't they? So you couldn't have to use ladders; you'd have to use something else.
Really?
But I don't think they ever came up with a solution. Yeah, it was to do with European Union, but we're out of that now, aren't we? But yeah, they were trying to get rid of ladders.
Right.
Have some
It never put me off. It never put me off climbing a ladder.
No. I felt safer upside of a net. Well, saying that, when I got taught how to climb telegraph poles, I felt safer per pole than did upside of the house in end.
Yeah.
And that's higher than a bloody roof, But it's the training you get with it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you ever have any weird jobs? Like I actually, I got held kind of hostage once.
No.
Well, honestly, it was so weird. I think it was near Christmas Eve or something daft like that, and it was in Wakefield.
Right.
And I went to this house. It was knocking on. It was dark, and I got to this house, and for some reason, I didn't feel either the job wasn't doable, and I wanted to get home. I said, just want enough time. And anyway, right fat family, really fat, and I want my TV today. I don't want to wait till another day. I want it now. And I says, all right, mate, keep there on. I says, I'll ring my manager and see what we can do. And anyway, I tried to ring, but there was no signal. So he said something like, "You're not leaving this house until I have Sky," like that. That's how much he wanted his Sky, before Christmas and that. And I was like, I need to ring my manager. He says, "Yeah, you can use my house phone." But anyway, I was shaking a bit because it properly annoyed me, and he was being quite aggressive towards me. Anyway, I rang his number, and it was stuck on loudspeaker. And
what his phone was?
Yeah.
God.
And I was like, oh God, this is awkward. So I'm like, "Hi Phil," says, I'm here with customer, and he wants his Sky fitting, but obviously it's 7:00 at night. I don't think I want to get home. It's too late and it's dark. I don't want to do it. And it feels like, what do you mean you don't want to do it? Get it done. And I'm like, it's quite dangerous to do it at night. I think in end I had to do a job, and it was something like 10:00 at night by the time I left. But yeah.
I've been on jobs where you've been working really late, You know, you've literally finish at 9 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? They're having the tea
Yeah.
while you're fitting box, and you know, you just feel like it's bloody really uncomfortable. You know, when
Oh
you're in.
yeah. When other people eating, you're starving, you haven't eaten out, and
It's not just that. It's just you
I
can't. You feel
remember.
like you're intruding on the bloody tea time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, and I remember driving back from job, just calling this guy, all names under the sun, and that replaying it through my mind, thinking, why didn't I just do this or that? You know, it's just nuts. Like, but yeah, it's just I'll never forget that job, and I hate that fat guy. If he's ever listening, you remember that. Fuck you.
Yeah, it was the best job in the world, wasn't it? In summer though.
Oh yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I remember doing a job in Hull though. It were like must have been the hottest day year, or like it were a week, and it was just absolute. And I took like probably 4 changes of clothes a day with me, you know, just because of how
Yeah.
hot it was. And I ended up on this roof in Hull, and it was the sun was that hot. It was beating down on this roof, and I'm on the roof, and I was just dripping. You know, it was just awful. But yeah, I just remember having to bloody get changed about twice on that job. But yeah, but it would like, you know, it just felt great, didn't it? You know, being out in sun and just like, yeah, it was great. Just even you had like bloody Galaxy on, didn't you? And you were driving around, and especially like on estates when jobs are that easy, you know what I mean? And it was just,
Yeah, you had great days like
yeah,
that, didn't you? Really good days.
yeah.
Do you remember like we used to get repair jobs as well, didn't we?
Mm.
Do you remember like do you ever used to get that jobs where you'd go and they had no satellite signal and you'd go to back at set top box under F connector and there'd be water dripping out of the cable.
I don't
And
think I've
it'd
ever
all
had that.
rusted.
No, I don't think I've
No,
ever had that.
what used to get it in Huddersfield a lot, like houses where dish were on the other side and they've chucked the cable over the roof.
Mm.
Because we used to do that, didn't we?
Yeah,
But
you'd get a tennis ball on end of cable on the end of a rope or something like that, wouldn't you? And throw it over and then tie cable onto end.
That's it.
Because you 10 times you'd looped cable around, and 10 times you've tried to throw cable over, but it's too heavy, isn't it?
That's
So
it.
you're like, right, I've had enough now. I'm just going to try a tennis ball.
Tennis ball, yeah. but the other problem with that is when over the years when it got windy and that the cable moves and rubs
Yeah.
on the apex. And what had happened was over time, water would get into the cable through the insulation and then just travel down the cable and into the set-top box. And I've been a couple of times, it's been dripping in so long that it all corroded, all end of tuna on end of it. It was just crazy. I remember that.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first? Do you remember the job I went back on of yours where you
keep telling me this, but John, but you trained me up, so I'm gonna. You got the blame for it. You keep going on about this.
Yeah, I went back to one of Luke's installs because the customer couldn't get half his channels. And the reason is because the dish was completely out of line because Luke had fitted this dish with about 2 bolts.
Oh, get lost! It want 2 bolts.
Swinging it wind.
Get lost! You just so over-exaggerate that job.
It was terrible. It was very amateur, Luke.
Well, my first job, and you'd train me.
4 bolts, not 2, Luke. Come on. Yeah, I'll never forget that. And Fashion TV. Do you remember that?
I can remember House.
I
didn't have all my tools. I'd not been supplied with all tools I needed. I can remember.
So what, do you try and stick it on with silicone or something?
No, I had bolts and stuff like that, but like to get the bolts nice and tight, you had that bit you stuck on end of your drill, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like a socket, wasn't it, that plugged into your drill and stuff. I didn't have one of them at the time, so I was tying it up by hand with a socket set.
With ratchet.
With a ratchet, yeah. But then when you get so close to wall, to stone on wall, you're bloody ratcheting your bloody knuckles on stone, aren't you? So it's, you know what I mean? So you're probably one of them, but I didn't have all right tools for the job. Do you know what I mean? I'd not been provided with all tools, and I think that's probably why that job didn't go well, because I remember customers saying, "Have
Yeah.
you got all right tools?" So I think that's probably what it was. Really, I think it was
Well, you know
just
what they say about a bad workman, Luke, don't
oh, shut up.
they? Oh dear. But yeah, I think overall it was quite an enjoyable job. But again, with cable, although it was better pay than cable, it still was an underpaid job, and
I
it was
know,
6 days a week, and it was a lot of miles, a lot of hours, and yeah, it's one of them, isn't it?
experience.
It's experience, and I think like we didn't get the best grades at school, did we? And so we
No.
had to kind of do it the hard way. We had to get our jobs through pure experience,
Mm.
you know. And it is the hard way because the thing is, you're either academic or you're not. You're academic or you're manual, right? And if you leave school and you ain't that academic, then you have to go do the manual thing and kind of just wing it, haven't you?
Yeah.
You just got to go from job to job, taking your experience, because experience is where is worth its weight in gold, isn't it?
Exactly. But it don't mean to say you're going to end up in a manual job for your entire career, because
Oh no.
you know, I've been a cable guy, satellite guy. I've worked at OpenReach like you have,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But you know, now I work in council.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's
And I mean,
there's a,
I work in a lab now. I still
yeah,
work for OpenReach, but I work in a lab, so I'm not doing engineer. Well, I'm still an engineer, but I'm not an external engineer anymore.
no.
So yeah, you do kind of go end up where you are. That's why I believe in destiny. I do. You just things happen and you learn from it and you get to where you are. You know, I think it's all written. You just got to go with it. But I do
Well,
like.
I don't agree with it being written. I like to make my own destiny.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's
I
where we're
like to make
different.
it.
You see,
Yeah,
Luke, isn't it? That's
exactly.
where we're
Yeah,
different.
I like to think I can control my own life.
Yeah, but I must admit though, being where I am, it's quite coming from an external engineer and coming into quite a sophisticated testing lab environment that I work in now. You are surrounded by a lot of intelligent people that have been to university and they have got degrees and stuff, and they're very, very intelligent. But there are lads there who are like very early 20s earning the same money that I'm on, purely because they're just bright and they've come straight out of school with good qualifications just because they're bright. And yeah, if you are academic, it is a shortcut. I won't lie. It is a shortcut. If you're brainy, it's a shortcut to earning money, a lot better money, quicker, sooner. And if, like, say, if Grayson, it seems to me to be very bright and he's exceeding at everything he does. If he can do that shortcut, then I'd want him to do that because it is a lot tougher. It's a lot tougher to go in the manual way. It is.
I think you kind of the opportunities are coming up anyway for school leavers and university and college and stuff like that. I think everything's. I think it's harder now to kind of find work in a way, because I think a lot of things are automated now, isn't it? And I think there's less. I think people, particularly in council, they don't necessarily look for experience. They look for the right person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you could come out of university with grades or whatever, but like where I work, I were interviewing last week, and you're actually looking for the right person for the job. You're not necessarily looking for grades or experience or anything like that, because the people we took on, you know, they've been in work and they've got experience, but you're looking for the right attitudes and the right behaviours. So, so it's not always experience and stuff like that. When it comes to public sector and stuff like that, they tend to be looking for the right person rather than the experience. So, yeah. But you're right. You're right in certain situations. You're right that having the intelligence is depending on the job, obviously. Yeah, it's definitely a shortcut.
Oh, 100%. But what the point I was going to come back to, Luke, was as well, if Grayson, I mean Bailey, for instance, she didn't leave school with great grades. You know, she's redoing her maths now and her English now. But she's going the manual way at the minute, and you know we helped it best we could, but she just wasn't academic. And if Grayson isn't academic, I'll be same. I will never push my kids to make them do something I want to do, or because if you're either one or other, and I think if some people push the kids, especially these days with mental health and stuff, it's just not worth pushing them. If you're not academic, you're not academic. I'm not going to push you. I'll be there to support you and give you the motivation and the encouragement as I can, as much as I can. But I don't believe in pushing your kids to get what you want. Yeah. Because it could all end in tears. It's just not worth it, mate.
You know, we were talking before about drilling in to someone's house. I just remembered something. I got to this new build, and who did I add? I had someone with me, and I'd gone into this house, and we're brand new. This house, brand new carpet down, and you know it were like on a new estate. Anyway, I moved telly out of the way and chose where we were going to drill out, and I started drilling, and then the plasterboard suddenly starts bobbling and the paint starting flickering off, and it's obvious I've hit a water pipe.
Oh no!
Well, I'd used my metal detector to find whether there anything behind there, and they'd used rubber pipes.
Rubber pipes?
Rather than using copper.
You mean plastic pipes?
Plastic or whatever.
Yeah.
Rather than using copper, and that's why it didn't detect the water pipe. And one place I could bloody drill out, and that's where it was. Drilled straight through a bloody water pipe. Brand new house, brand new carpets, brand new, brand new, freshly decorated. Oh man, believe it. But the guy was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's because they're crap houses, they're just built with cheap materials." I'm like, "Well, you just bloody bought the thing,
Yeah.
And I can remember when we were cable guys. Do you remember me drilling through a gas pipe?
Yes. You were drilling down through
a floor into a cellar.
Floor, yeah.
Yeah, and I drilled straight into a bloody gas pipe, didn't I? I said, don't turn any electrical equipment on. Oh my God! But he took it to B&Q, didn't he, and get something to sort it out, like.
Yeah.
But I just thought I'll just drill down here. There won't be out under it. And there it was, bloody gas pipe.
Well, you never drill down through floorboards, look. Even I know that.
Yeah, well, because you were coming up from below. You know what I mean? Got into.
Yeah. But yeah, about plastic pipes, water pipes. They actually put a metal beading on them now.
Right.
So your metal detector can. But you're right. Years ago, when they first started putting the plastic pipes in, they didn't have that metal bead on them.
No.
So, yeah.
Unlucky. You've put some on the thing that I've experienced as well. On the script for the episode, not the script.
What's that? The planner.
On the planner, the planner for the episode. I think it looks like we've both killed birds with our vans.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that bit.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I'll tell my story. Well, I'd gone through all my life, up to my mid-20s, not killing anything, driving. But in a single day, in a single week, right? I don't know. I think it was the disorientation of having a cat ladder on van the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I I was getting close to Solutions, and a bird just flew up and went into the bloody lower grill of me van, and I gets to Solutions, and there's two bloody legs sticking out of me grill like that. And I'm like, oh, for God's sake! I had to get a pair of pliers and pull it out. It was well dead. It was a sparrow.
God.
And then a few days later, going down the same road, this bird flies up, prangs the blooming cat ladder and splats blood on my windscreen. Bounces off that road. I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
The first time it happened to me was I was driving, Fox and Hounds pub.
Yes.
Coming to where you used to live with Alex.
Penistone. Yeah.
You go past there, and then you get to the end of there, and you turn right, and you go down a hill, don't you, under a railway bridge, and then up.
Yes.
Right. Well, I was driving down there, and I got to near the bottom, and I just heard this boom. What was that? I didn't see anything. But I looked in my rear view. I looked in my mirror, and I just saw these feathers coming down. I looked at my ladders, and there were crap all over me ladders. But I just looked. It was just boom. I thought, what the hell was that? So I got to work, and I was just crap all over my ladders, feathers and stuff like that. But I just laughed because I just looked in my mirror there, and all these feathers were just going like that. I just thought, my God. And in the same week, again, like you, I was driving home, and where you get off motorway, or M1, where old post office was.
Yeah.
You go. I can't remember exactly the route, but you go up through a village, and I'm driving along there, and I can see this bird flying over this field. In my peripheral, we're getting closer and closer and closer, and I'm thinking, nah, this ain't gonna happen, you know what I mean? But this bird actually had a collision course with me, and I'm driving along, and it just literally flew into sight, went boom again on my ladders, and I looked in the mirror, and feathers are coming down like that again. I thought, twice in 1 week. I just couldn't believe it. Do you know what I mean? It was it was just so funny, but I couldn't believe it. I just killed another bird. Killed another bird.
Oh dear!
But that was it, because the cat ladders kind of turned up, didn't they?
Yeah.
So
some people hadn't turned up, and some people hadn't turned down.
I know. Yeah.
I think Gaz used to have his turned down, so it was in your vision. So I was like, eh?
Why? I just didn't get that. Why did you do that?
I don't know. Everyone's different, but. So, anyway, what are we talking about next week, Luke? Anyway.
Oh, I don't know, John. Same every bloody week now.
I know.
I can't think about it. We always come up with something, don't we? But
we do.
We usually come up with something, but you can't think of it in episode, can you?
No, because we're on episode 9 now.
Episode 9.
That must be like at least 10 hours of talking.
I know, yeah. Episode 9. At least it's better than Star Wars episode 9.
Yeah.
That was shocking.
I can't. I'm not a geek like Luke is with Star Wars. I can't get into it. I've tried. I've watched all the films back to back in the correct order. Still can't get into it. No. But I will say, the ones made in the late 90s, early 2000s, which the prequels, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
I actually thought those were the best ones, even though everyone criticised them for having a lot of CGI. I actually thought they were the best ones. I enjoyed those the most, but that's just me.
Good. I've got a newfound love for those after the sequel trilogy.
Have you?
Yeah, I had issues with the prequels, but after watching the last 3, I've got a newfound love for those.
They are brilliant.
Yeah. Well, there we go. So I don't know what we're going to talk about next week, but yeah. How can people get in touch with us?
Well, nobody's got in touch with us yet, so we best tell them, haven't we, Luke?
Yeah. So, there's a send a message button on Google Podcasts. There's a send a
Ah.
message button or record a message, and I think you press and hold that, and it sends an audio message to our podcast hosting site that we can include in the episode.
Ah, that's clever.
Yes, so do that, or go to Anchor FM /Aimless Yarn, and you can listen to the podcast from there. And there's also there's that facility on there as well. Send us a message so we can include your message in the episode, and then we can respond to that.
Yeah.
Or you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And you can send us messages on there as well. And if you find us on YouTube, like and subscribe and share the videos. Ring
You've been told.
and ring the bell for notifications so that when a new episode goes live on YouTube, you get notified. And if you subscribe to us on Google Podcasts, you also get notified when an episode goes live.
Yeah.
So
Luke may come across like he's telling you to do this. I'm actually asking you.
Yeah.
Just get in touch. If you know, I mean, you could spark a new conversation. You could ask questions about us, about anything. You know, we Luke's very old now. He's 40. I'm still partying hard in my 30s. We've been on this earth quite a long time, so we could give you some advice or questions, anything. Just feel free and get in touch.
So our two listeners, John.
Our mums,
your mum and Bailey, our two listeners. They could always get involved, couldn't they, and send messages.
Yes, they could
Comment on us.
Hiya, love. Are you watching these?
Am I watching these? or it'll be, am I watching these? You know what I mean? Look, when you're next coming to next. I don't know. I know. Yeah.
Look, your tea's ready.
I know. You're shopping in next. You look around the corner. Is John's mum here?
Quick, eyes.
If you're listening, I'm only joking.
She knows you're only joking.
Yeah.
She's known you for a long, long time.
I know, yeah. God, she's great, isn't she?
Yeah, I love my mum. Just don't see much of her because of this bloody COVID like. Hey dear. Anyway, plugs and info. If you want to check out, see what company we used to work for, New Channels do have a website, which is new-channels.co.uk. Check them out. They can fit you an aerial. They actually do CCTV as well.
And door entry.
And door entry. And automation, whatever that is. But yeah, they do all kinds of stuff. If you live in the Sheffield area, or the entirety of Yorkshire, they will come and come and fit anything you want. Also, Luke has got a YouTube channel which is Lucas Film.
Yep.
Some of the old movies used to make when we were kids. If you're interested in media. And also, Luke's gone out of focus. No, he hasn't. There he is. I've got my own car channel, which is Carflix, CARFLIX, and that's on YouTube. Check it out if you like cars. So that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it.
I think you should. Let me just before I sign off. I think you should, as you've talked about your new cars.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you should go into Carflix and you should make videos about your new cars, and then you can talk.
Now this is the problem I've got now. Obviously, Aimless Yarn actually takes up a bit of time, as it does with you as well. And it's taken that time I had for editing away.
Right, okay.
So I just don't have the time to do any editing at the minute. So I've got a lot on my plate at the minute. I have been a bit slack on Carflix lately, but there's plenty of videos on there, quite useful videos as well. Check it out. I will get back into it. I apologize for being a bit lazy on it, but I will get back into it when I've got a lot of stuff at home I need to sort and stuff on the cars. I have took pictures though, so I will stick those on Carflix of what I've been up to. And I might even stick it on Aimless Yarn as well, because we do talk about it. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled, and I'll stick it on there for you.
Okay, right then.
So that
it?
concludes this. I think it is. I think this is probably the longest episode we've done so far. Look, everyone's nodding off.
I know, yeah, me and all.
I know. I'm estimating an hour and 40 on that one. But
You reckon? Right, I'll let you know after.
Yeah, we place little bets, don't we, Luke?
Yeah.
So
I know, yeah.
But as always, thanks ever so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. And we will see you on the next episode.
Okay, goodbye from him.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye.
See you next time.